Can I ask you some questions?
Of course.
I talked to Father Justinius.
Indeed.
I imagine that someone was keeping watch over them.
Of course, we took turns guarding the shack. But some of us can't have taken the task that seriously. If I remember correctly, it was Brother Virgil who was guarding them that night.
Where were the tablets the night they were stolen?
We were keeping them in one of the village's shacks. We intended to bring them to San Mateus later. But first, we wanted to examine them in order to obtain as much information as possible. You can go and take a look in the shack if you want to, but I couldn't find any traces of forced entry.
Whom do you suspect of being the thief?
Alas, I'm afraid there are many suspects. These tablets are priceless relics. Some settlers may have fallen prey to the lure of profit. The heretical natives of Vedlug may have wanted to take them away from us, or it could have been vengeance by those who had to leave the village.
Well, thank you for these pieces of information.
I am the one who should be thanking you, especially if you managed to retrieve the tablets for us.
Thank you. I will let you work. Greetings. De Sardet. I'm handling the investigation into the theft of the tablets. Sister Eugenia told me to talk to you.
I'm Brother Virgil. What would you like to know?
According to your colleague, you were the one in charge of guarding the tablets on the night of the theft. Is that right?
Indeed.
What can you tell me about that night? Did you hear or see anything?
No, nothing in particular. The night was quiet, and then the morning after, we saw they were gone.
Someone had to enter the shack to steal the tablets. How did that happen?
I have no idea. The door was closed in the morning, and the lock was intact.
Do you think the culprit could be a native?
Well, since none of us did it, it seems obvious. There aren't many other settlers around here, and the natives knew of the existence of these tablets before we found them. They were attached to them too, in their own way.
They are the ones who led you to them.
Well, we conducted the research, but they helped us find where they were hidden. Some inhabitants of the village are still giving us a hand with our work.
Do you suspect anyone in particular?
Not really. What I can tell you for sure is it is not one of us.
Well, Sister Eugenia did tell me that the tablets were priceless.
Of course. But our motivation is not the lure of profit. All that matters to us is their value as proof, not the money we could make out of them.
Well, thank you. I will investigate where the theft took place.
As you wish. But you won't find anything there. And why does it matter, anyway? There were witnesses to the discovery of these tablets. We have all the proof we need. And that's all that matters.
What do you mean?
Now we can prove Saint Mateus lived here. Our actions on this island are justified. To keep rummaging the way Sister Eugenia does will only create more tensions with the natives.
I was not expecting a theologian to say such things. Have you been in Eden for a long time?
2 months, approximately. Back then, there were still some pagan natives in the village. I joined Sister Eugenia's team with some of my colleagues, so we could give them a fresh outlook on things. We arrived straight from Ptolemy, hoping to study some new texts. But once we were here, I understood that my real mission was with the islanders. We must bring the light to this island.
You talked about a mission with the natives. What did you mean by that?
I may be under the command of Sister Eugenia here, but my superior is Bishop Domitius. Our mission is to banish pagan cults and convert the entire population to the light. The island belongs to Saint Matthias, and therefore to Ptolemy, since the God of Light offered it to our founder.
You have a very unique way of seeing things. I doubt everyone accepts it. How are your relations with the natives?
When I arrived, we were still trying to obtain information from them about Saint Matthias, but they were very reluctant to give us any answers. We were also trying to educate them. Our attempts eventually made some of the inhabitants of the village react badly. Most stubborn against our teachings, the warriors, and the marked. The ones the natives call the Onomanawi. They eventually left, and it has proved nothing but a blessing for us. I would like to go back to work now, if you don't mind.
Of course. I will leave you to your work. Goodbye. Father.
I'm glad to see you, my child. What can I do for you?
Tell me about how you created this village.
We did not create it from the ground up. It was built around an existing native village. The islanders called it Vixenagad, which translates to the Village of the Old Sage. We saw it as a sign. The natives had probably chosen this name in memory of Saint Mateus, and everything here fit the description of Saint Lucius. The discovery of the tablets proved us right. So, we decided to rebuild our Eden here, in the spirit of peace and harmony which is described in the scriptures.
Why share this village with the natives?
To replicate and resume the work of our founder, of course. If he came here and managed to convert the natives, then it is our duty to do the same thing. By living side by side with them, it is much easier for us to pass on our teachings.
How well do you get along with the natives who live here?
Very well, of course. Especially since those who opposed our presence left.
Left? To go where?
Oh, to other villages, I imagine. Does it even matter? Those who stayed are on the path of enlightenment. Some of their legends must have been about Saint Matthias. That helped to convince them.
And how well have neighboring villagers welcomed you?
With some reluctance, to be perfectly honest. So, we sent them missionaries. There are still frequent conflicts with the village of Vedlug, a highly violent village of heretics. But the other villages, the more peaceful ones, are slowly starting to listen to the sacred word.
There is something strange here.
It often takes time for the people of the continent to get used to our paradise, but I am sure you will come to appreciate it.
I must leave you. Goodbye.
May the enlightened always keep you in their divine blessing.
Hello. I am Lair, the village leader. Well, I was the leader of this village.
Hello. Desarde. I'm the legate of the merchant congregation.
There are Onol Manawi among the Logead Blau. I did not know that. What do you want from me?
I have heard a lot of things about this village of Eden, but I'd like to hear your version.
I'm not sure I have the answers to all of your questions, but I'll try.
Tell me about the arrival of the people of Thélème and how you received them.
The priests were roaming around the village. They were saying that it was the place where their saint had lived. They were asking questions, talking about the Lloyd and all these things. One morning they were building houses next to ours. And we had new neighbors.
The priests told me that they had managed to convert you. How did that happen?
As long as we refused to listen to them. They were violent, and they destroyed some of our sanctuaries. So we let them talk. And now that they think that we love their god, they leave us alone. Some of the things they say are beautiful, and their magic is impressive. But we do not forget our spirits.
One of the theologians told me that you had helped them in their research.
They wanted to find tracks of the old sage, of the one they call Saint Matthäus, and they were rummaging through everything. Our Donegad did not want to tell them anything, because the old sage is sacred here. But since they violently interrogated everyone, I thought it wise to guide them to the place where the stones were.
What happened to your warriors? Why did they have to leave the village?
They did not accept the presence of the priests and their questions. They tried to retake the village. They even asked Deirdre, the chief of Vedlug, for her help. So, the priests called the Soul Lasser, the Burning Suns, and they killed many of them. I asked for peace, and the others left us. They wanted to join Vedlug. Perhaps they have done so.
Aren't you angry after all that happened?
No. I mourn those who died, of course, and the Vorstyrent. But this village may be our opportunity.
Your opportunity for what?
For the Renaigse to understand who we are. Not savages, nor monsters, but men, perhaps wiser than they are.
I have to go.
Like so many others.
I knew that the story would be more complex than we'd been told. But I must admit that despite these few alterations to history, the result is astonishing. Either way, the resentment here is strong enough for a theft to occur. There's only one entrance, and the door shows no evidence of a break-in.
Brother Virgil can't have cared less about these relics. He must have fallen asleep on duty. And then, someone must have just stolen the keys from him.
It's very likely that that's what happened. But someone must have informed them. It can't be a coincidence that they decided to steal it during the watch of the only neglectful guard.
So, we have to find their accomplice, the one that informed them, and who must be in the village.
We know that this theft could be an act of vengeance by the natives who were forced to leave here. They must still have allies in the village. Family or friends. We should go talk to the chief of the natives. He will certainly know who's close to the exiles, and enough about the researchers to inform them.